What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our Big 12 football channel. We have our updated power rankings after week 4 of the college football season. These will be the week 5 power rankings. It's Texas and Oklahoma. Is anyone else in the Big 12 going to give them a challenge, or are we going to see a rematch of that OU-Texas rivalry again in the Big 12 championship, just like we did last year? That's the big question, really, when you look at the Big 12. But we'll start at number 10, and it's a team that showed some life this year. That's the Kansas Jayhawks. Improvement over last year. You look what they did to Boston College, but still, I think this is the bottom team in the Big 12 at this point. They are 2-2, had a loss to West Virginia. Played competitively in that game. You know, last year, I don't think they would have even really competed with West Virginia. I don't remember the score from last year, but they had some games last year where they did compete. But the Boston College win really is what's propelling them right now. But still, if you look at the rest of the Big 12, I think Kansas has to stay at number 10. Let's move on to number 9, and that is Texas Tech. Started the year off really well. Then they went out west, played Arizona. They lost that game, and so they've fallen a little bit here to number 9. Really, we'll see what they can do once they get into Big 12 play. That's going to be the big question here. Alan Bowman is down with the injury. Who will start at quarterback for them? That's a big question mark as well. Jet Duffy, the guy that played some last year, I think he's going to get the nod. Gives you that dual threat running ability as well. So we'll see how they look moving forward. Big game against Oklahoma this weekend. But Texas Tech is at number 9. Number 8 is West Virginia, and we've seen good and bad from this team. You know, they beat NC State, looked really good in that game. They got blown out by Missouri, looked horrible in that game. So which West Virginia team is going to show up? I think the inconsistencies are because of the new coaching staff, all the changes that they've gone through. You know, things are going to go good sometimes, things are going to go bad sometimes. But they are 3-1. They have a conference win. They're 1-0 in the Big 12 after that win over Kansas. So West Virginia is still a team there's a lot of mystery about. May wind up being a pretty good team. They may wind up being one of the bottom teams in the Big 12. Number 7 is a team that just had a bad loss, and that was TCU losing to SMU. And by a bad loss, I don't mean they lost to a horrible team, but you can't lose to a team like SMU if you're going to have a chance to maybe make a run at a New Year's Six Bowl or something like that. Now, the good news for TCU, obviously, is that was not a conference game, so it's not going to affect them in their race to get to the Big 12 championship. They do lose to SMU. They're 2-1 now on the season. Had that nice win over Purdue, so we know this team has potential. Now, how good really is Purdue? We don't really know that. But TCU, that team, again, I think has a lot of potential. Might be the team with the best chance to get to the Big 12 championship outside of Texas and Oklahoma, actually. Number 6 is Baylor. This team, you could make an argument for TCU being ahead of Baylor, but they are 3-0. They haven't played anybody. I think we had Baylor as ranked with the weakest non-conference schedule in all of college football. They beat Rice this past weekend, only won by 8. So there's nothing really to get excited about yet for Baylor. Now that they get into Big 12 play, we're going to start to find out how good this Baylor team is. But as of now, we really have no idea. But Baylor is at number 6. Into the top 5 now, we've got Iowa State, a team that I originally had at number 3. And the loss to Iowa had a rough game in week 1 as well. They were able to get that win in overtime against an FCS team, but they really had a nice day offensively against ULM. Louisiana Monroe is not a bad team. This is, I think, one of the better group of 5 teams. They took Florida State to overtime, but Iowa State's offense got it going in this game. They put up 72 points. If they can build off of that, we know the defense is going to be pretty solid for them, and they will have a chance maybe to make a run at the Big 12 championship game. They're number 5. Number 4 is Oklahoma State. I was actually impressed with them in the loss to Texas. I know they lost that game, but still, they had a chance. They had a lead in the second half. This team looked really good in that one. They are 3-1 on the season. They have a win over Oregon State, so you've gone out west. You beat a Power 5 team, albeit Oregon State. Yeah, they're not very good, but still, it's a Power 5 team. A Power 5 win is on the resume for them. But they lose to Texas by 6. Almost came back in that game, at least made it interesting. The Cowboys do get Oklahoma at home late in the year, so perhaps this is a team that could make a run. Kansas State is at number 3. How good really is this team? I don't know. They beat Mississippi State on the road. That was an impressive win. There were some quarterback issues for the Bulldogs, so I'm not going to read too much into that. Do I think they'll finish number 3? No, I don't. But right now, I think they deserve to be here. They're 3-0. Again, they take down an SEC opponent. They're a top 25 team right now. But once they get into some tougher competition, week in and week out, we'll see if they can sustain that. Again, I think this team is going to finish probably closer to 5 or 6. But right now, we have to put Kansas State at number 3 based off of what they have done so far. Number 2, the Texas Longhorns got to win over Oklahoma State. Just talked about that. They are 3-1, 1-0 in the Big 12, and that was one of the tougher games for them. You get that one out of the way, so they survive, get the win. Oklahoma coming up here soon. That is going to be obviously a huge matchup. But Texas is at number 2. I think you have to look at the offense that they've got. They're playing really well. Defensively, it's what we expected. They're going to struggle on that side of the ball. They lost a lot of talent from last year, and they play in the Big 12. So it's not a surprise that they gave up 30 points to Oklahoma State, but they put up 36. It was enough to win, and they're at number 2. Number 1 is Oklahoma. They didn't even play this past weekend, but they are 3-0. The offense has looked incredible under Jalen Hurts. Defense, maybe some improvement. I don't know, really. I mean, maybe some improvement, but they still look like they're going to struggle on that side of the ball. But, hey, they struggled last year on defense, still made the playoffs. So I don't count Oklahoma out. I think this team still has a chance to make a run at a Big 12 championship for sure, and then also maybe a college football playoff spot. Jalen Hurts has looked great at quarterback, and he's a potential Heisman candidate now. Great job by him so far. But the schedule is going to get tougher, and it starts this weekend with a conference game against Texas Tech. That's our Week 5 power rankings for the Big 12. You guys can give me your thoughts down in the comments below. How would you rank the teams? Let me know. Thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned for more here on our Big 12 football channel.